standard equation of a parabola. Before we go over these 4 standard equations, we should take a look at the definition of this vocabulary: parabola, directrix, focus, vertex, and axis. So we have a graph. This blue curve is a parabola. The pink dashed line is directrix, and then the orange dotted line is axis, the purple point is the vertex of the parabola, and then the green point is called the focus. Okay, so here is the description. The distance between the focus and the vertex, so between the focus and the vertex, is equals to the distance between the vertex and the directrix. So follow my cursor right over here. So this distance is equals to this distance. Another way to say this is the vertex is the midpoint between the focus and the directrix. So you have your vertex, and if the focus is right here, right above the vertex, then you know that the parabola is facing this way. If the focus is right over here, then the parabola opens downward. If the focus is right over here, then the parabola opens to the right. If the focus is right over here, then the parabola opens to the left. Right, so the focus tells you where the parabola is facing. It's like a bow, right? So which direction is the bow facing? Up, down, left, or right? And then axis passes through the focus and the vertex. So I would say that this axis divides the parabola equally. So the piece on the left is equals to the piece on the right. And then for the directrix, I will think about the parabola as a cup, and then the directrix as the plate underneath the cup, underneath a cup. All right, so this is a cup, and then the directrix is the plate underneath the cup. Okay, so let's go back to the standard equation. So standard equation of a parabola. A parabola can be presented in 4 different ways: facing up, facing down, facing left, and facing right. So let's go over each of this. So basically, the facing up and down, the standard equations are the same, except the P is different. So the first one, this is facing up. We have a focus right over here, and then the directrix right over here, and then the vertex is represented by H comma K. So the vertex is represented by H comma K. When the parabola is facing up, the P is greater than 0. P is the distance between the vertex and the focus. P is also the distance between the vertex and the directrix. So when the parabola opens up, P is greater than 0. When the parabola opens down, P is less than 0. Do you see the difference between these two graphs? The focus is above the vertex. The parabola is facing up. The parabola is always facing the focus. This one focus is below the vertex, then the parabola is facing down, parabola is facing the focus, and then the directrix is always right behind the parabola, just like right here and then right here. Okay, and then for the first graph, the directrix is K minus P. So K minus P, K is just a value, and then minus P. So K minus P. So let's say this one, Y is equals to 5. And then P is equals to 3. So the distance between the directrix and the vertex is, this is Y equals to 5, right? When P is equals to 3, then you take 5 minus the P, which is 5 minus 3, then the directrix is equals to 2. This one makes more sense if we put this on a real problem. And then the difference between the first and the second graph is, the first graph is facing up, P is positive. The second graph is facing down, P is negative. And then let's take a look at the equation as well. So for both equation, we have x minus h squared equals to 4 times p, y minus k. And then notice that as we move on, you have to memorize that this p is part of the equation. All right, so 4 times p, this p is part of the equation. So what is the difference between up and down and left and right? So left and right, so when the parabola is facing left or facing right, you have y on the right hand side. So on the up and down, you have x squared, and then left and right, you have a y squared, and then x will be on the other side, and then the 4p is always the same for each type of parabola. And then the directrix, this is a vertical directrix, so it's no longer y, what y equals to, so now this is what x equals to. The vertex is always h comma k, and then facing left, p is less than 0. So from this point to this point, you have to take this x value and then subtract p to get to the focus. And then from this to the directrix, you will have to take x plus p. You know what? For that parabola, I think that I accidentally write a mistake. So the other one should be yeah, it is a h minus p, and then for both, they are both h minus p. Actually, that is not a mistake, so just forget what I just said. And then the focus, they are both h plus p comma k. So h plus p comma k. And then what else do we know? And then the axis, so this time the axis is horizontal, so that will be y equals to k. And then look at the formula, they are exactly the same, except for opens to the left, the p is less than 0, opens to the right, the p is greater than 0. So when every time I teach a parabola, I would just say take a screenshot of this. So if you are watching, if you are taking notes right now, you should take a screenshot of this. So you should take a screenshot of this. Every time you solve a problem, you visit these formulas. I never ask people just memorize all of them, because this formula, if you just look at the formula, it doesn't make too much sense. It makes a lot more sense after you solve a few problems using this formula. So let's solve this problem. I have 4 problems for you. So one in white, one in red, and then we have 2 more. So let's start. The first one, I gave you a vertex and I all gave you a focus. I want you to figure out the standard equation of a parabola. So the way I do this is I will just draw a graph. You don't need a graphing paper. So for 1, -a, so 1, -a, let's just draw a graph. So 1, -a is in quadrant 4, right? So 1, -a, and then the focus is 3, -a. So it's like right over here, x equals to 1, x equals to 3. So since the focus is right over there, I can see that the parabola is facing this way because the focus is right over here. And then what else do we know? The vertex is h comma k, right? And then when the parabola is facing right, then we are using this graph. And then we are also using this formula. Okay, what else do we know? We can figure out the p. So what is the distance between the vertex and the focus? So it's the distance from 1 to 3. So what is the p? The p is equals to 2, right? So the p is equals to 2, and then what do we do for the p is equals to 2? We can figure out the directrix. So the directrix will be 1 minus 2 equals to 1 minus 2 equals to -1, right? So 1 minus 2 equals to -1. Then the directrix will be like right over here. 2 units to the right, we have the focus, and then 2 units to the left, we have a directrix. So let's write this down, directrix, which is x equals to, you are standing at the vertex, you move 2 units to get to the focus, and then you subtract 2 units to go to the directrix, which is equals to -1. The directrix is equals to -1. So we have a p, we have h comma k, and then we can just write the equation. So the equation is, you are following this equation, which is y minus k, right? So you have y minus -8, and then square, and then that is equals to the 4 is built in, and then we have a 2, and then we have x minus h, which is x minus 1. And that's it. Let's take a look at the red problem. The red problem, we have a directrix, we have a vertex. So let's plot the vertex first, 1, 2, that is in quadrant 1. So 1, 2, that is in quadrant 1. So we have 1, 2 right over here, and then the directrix is y equals to -1, so that is right over here, y equals to -1. And then which one are we following? We are following the first graph, right? So since the directrix is right over here, and then I can see that the parabola looks like this. The parabola looks like this. And then where is the focus? The focus is supposed to be like right over here. Okay, let's find out the distance between the vertex and the directrix. So this is 1 comma 2, and then from 1 to -1. So we have to go 1 unit and then another unit. That means what is the p equals to? The p is is 1 comma 2. So we have to go two units. Y is equals to 2, right? So this is a 2 unit. This is another unit. So together p is equals to 3. So I am going to write this down and then just switch to a different color. I'm going to write this. So from here to here, p is equals to 3. And then that means from here to there, p is equals to 3. So p is equals to 3. And then what is the focus? The focus, y has to go additional 3 units up. So for the focus, we have 1 comma 2 plus 3, which is 1 comma 5, right? So p, the y value has to go 3 units up. And then what else do we know? We know p is equals to 3. We are pretty much all set for the equation. I should say the standard equation. So the parabola is facing up. Then we are following this standard equation. We have the x minus h squared on the left hand side. Let's write that. So we have x minus h. What is the vertex? H is 1, and then square, and then equals to 4 is built in. We found that p is equals to 3, and then y minus k is y minus 2. That's it. And then moving on to the next problem. The next problem, we have a focus and a directrix. So the focus is at 0, 0, and then the directrix is at y equals to a. So this graph, I'm going to match the color first. So focus is at 0, 0, directrix is equals to a. So the focus, the directrix is above the focus, right? So the focus is 0, 0. So that means the parabola is facing this way. And then here is my vertex, and then the directrix is y equals to a. So y equals to a. And then the focus is 0 comma 0. So this is 8, this is a 0. So what is the total then? So the total from 8 to 0, this is 8 units long, right? This is 8 units long. So that means from here to here is 4. From here to here is 4. And then since this parabola is facing down, which one are we following? We are following the second one. So the parabola is facing down. Then p is negative. Then we should say that p is equals to -4. So p is equals to -4. So p equals to -4. And then what is the vertex then? H comma k. The vertex is you have y at 0. You have to go 4 units up. Then this is a 0, 0 plus 4, which is 0 comma 4. And then we have the focus, we have the directrix, we have the vertex, and then we can set up the formula. So the formula is where? So you follow that. I am going to copy this and then bring that over. So I'm going to copy and then bring that over. So we have x minus h. Then this is a x minus 0 square. I keep the 0 in there. And then -4. Oh, this is supposed to be a 4. And then -4. And then this is my p. And then you multiply y minus k, y minus 4. And then that's it. And then how about the green problem? You have the vertex, the parabola passes through -9 comma 2. Okay, sketch the graph. So we have -1. So most of the graph will be on the left hand side of the y-axis. So we have -1 comma 6. So -1 comma 6, and then -9 comma 2. So -9 comma 2 will be right over here, and then the parabola looks like that. Okay, that's all we know. Can we just get the equation first? So the equation, this is h, this is k, then you have x, oh, it's facing that way, then we have to take the equation. So it's facing left. So I am going to do some copy and paste. So I'm going to copy this, copy, and then paste. So we have y minus k square equals to the 4 is built in, the p we don't know yet, and then x minus h minus -1. And then what else? We have 9, -9 comma 2. Then this is my x comma y. So plug in x, plug in y. Then we have y is equals to 2. Then we have a 2 minus 6 squared equals to 4p. And then x plus 1, -9 plus 1. We can just solve for p. So this is 16. This is -32p. Then p is equals to -1/2. So p is equals to -1/2, and then we can just go ahead and then find the focus and the directrix. So the focus will be like right over here, right? And then the focus, what is the focus? Is based on the vertex, and then you have to move -1/2 to the left. So it's -1, and then you have to subtract, right? You have to subtract 1/2. And then you have to go half unit to the left, and then comma 6. So that is -3/2 comma 6. And then how about the directrix? You have to go to the right, then that will be standing at the vertex, and then the -1 has to go half unit to the right, then that will be x equals to -1. This is where the vertex is, and then you have to go half unit to the right, so which is equals to -1/2, and then here is the directrix. X equals to -1/2, and then this is a -3/2 comma 6. Alright, so that is the end of this video. As always, I would like you to screenshot this, or you write this somewhere on your notes. Every time you solve a parabola problem, just look at this formula and then try to do some matching. So based on what you have, this is matched to one of the equations, and then you just follow the graph, follow the equations. All right, so that is the end of this video. If you like the way I introduce and explain standard equation of a parabola, give this video a like. If this is something that you want to see in the future, subscribe to my channel. As always, I will meet you all in the next lesson. Signing out.